Alright, so as you can see, I'm sitting in a car, uh, window rolled up all the way, doors locked if you could see any of that, and it's about 90 degrees, partly sunny, in Chandler, Arizona. Yeah, fun. And I've been sitting in the car, which is a 2002 Kia Spectra, for about 20 minutes or so. And as you can see, I've already been dripping sweat and whatnot. So yeah, this is really, really bad. Like, if I ever did have kids, I would not leave a kid in here because it's, like, horrible. This really sucks. So, I don't see why anyone would want to leave their kids, and if they don't, then it's an accident. I would caution them to say every time you stop at a store or like a mall or something to automatically undo their seatbelt unless they're like an infant or something. So if they're like 3 years old or something, have them undo their seatbelt automatically so that you know they're there and it's a reminder to you. But if they're an infant, just look in your rearview mirror before you get out, because this is horrible. I don't see why parents accidentally leave their kids in a car. This is really bad. So, I guess this counts as my hot car challenge, but I don't know. I think I might go a little bit longer because kids usually sit in here for about 7 minutes on average, because parents just think that they'll go in real quick, get what they need, and get out, when in all actuality that's not true. They'll go in, they'll be away for like 15 minutes, and by 7 minutes the kids are already basically suffocating in the car, especially infants. Infants, it's extremely hard for them to do anything because the windows are rolled up. The car may be running with the AC on, but that doesn't really matter because the AC really doesn't do anything to mess with the heat within the car. It's just creating more heat, but gradually. Even if the AC's on and the windows are down, just don't leave your kid in a car. This is horrible. Like, why do this? So, let's see. You can see there's a little bit of cloud cover. For a lot of states, that's a lot of cloud cover if you don't get a whole lot of clouds. But for Arizona, this is a lot or little, depending on what you think. But for Arizona, this is pretty well. Sorry, I was just making sure the window was rolled all the way up. This is pretty well cloud covered, and it's pretty horrible in here. So I would caution not to leave your kids in here, because unless, you want to get charged with felony murder and second-degree child endangerment or whatever, like that one guy did to his 22-month-old kid, make sure you always check the back seat for your infant, toddler, younger kids. So about 25 minutes in, because my system is a lot stronger than little kids, it's getting hard for me to breathe. But it's really bad in here. Not to mention 25 minutes in a hot car with asthma, it doesn't really help, because with asthma, it's already hard for people to breathe in hot weather. And if an infant or something, I realize it's kind of hard to see if a kid has asthma when they're an infant, but if they're like 3 years old and you know they have asthma, just make sure you always check the back seat or have them undo their seatbelt, because this is absolutely horrible. There's this guy, I think his name was Terry or something, from North Carolina, that started this. Respect, man. I'm glad you did this. It inspired a lot of people to do it, and hopefully this becomes such an issue that it'll finally start getting through to people and whatnot, for people like us doing the hot car challenge, trying to warn parents and whatnot and make sure they remember to get their kids out of the car, because this is really bad. Like, if you ever do this, and the thing I have to drink, and I won't drink it because it's injector cleaner, is this. This is the only thing, and all of that, and what's underneath that is that. So there really isn't anything to do, let alone to drink, in this car. And the AC system in this car is horrible. Speaking in relative terms to newer cars and whatnot, this is, like, no. Make sure you always check the back seat for your cars. Especially with the older cars that have the manual roll-down windows like that. If your kid's, like, 3 or something, it's going to be extremely hard for them to roll the window down. Because I know for a fact that in this 2002 Kia, it's harder to roll it down. Even when I was a little kid, like 7 years old or something, it was really hard to do it. I had to use both hands. But if they're strapped in and whatnot, especially as an infant, this is pretty much death by heat exhaustion and suffocation. That is horrible to do. And it's probably been 25 minutes now or so. Probably closer to 30 though. And my breathing's starting to get affected. I can feel my heartbeat throughout my entire body. This is really horrible. I would never leave a kid in a hot car whatsoever, because this is just, no. This is really bad. Can't believe people would do this would accidentally leave their kids in a car like this. Especially in Arizona. It's really bad in Arizona and probably Texas and a lot of those really dry and hot states, especially the ones with humidity, really high humidity, like California. I know it doesn't get too hot, but the humidity's pretty high there, and really anywhere that has high humidity or is extremely dry. Even places, because I know there's some states that have high humidity and are really dry. Like, those are the worst states to do this in. Like, Arizona is pretty bad too, because it's just dry year round. We're probably at the beginning of monsoon season. We've had a couple showers, but it's still getting 90, 95 degrees out here, and it's horrible. Like, I just came back from Utah, and the high over there, as we were leaving, was probably getting up to 100. And that's it, I don't know, 6,000 feet or something like that. And it snows where I went, so for it to get 90 to 100 degrees up there, even if it's like low hundreds, like 105, it's still horrible, because it's like 90 degrees in here. You can see the sweat going down my face and probably on my arms, because I've been messing with my arms a lot, trying to get the sweat to go down, not just stay there. So, yeah, it's pretty bad in here. Don't leave your kids in here. This is horrible. Just don't. So, always remember, check the back seat, rear view mirror, whatever you have to do to look behind you before you get out of the car. Always take your kids in the store with you. And please, remember, don't leave your kids in the car. Peace.